everybody. This is another episode of the HeelCast special edition. Today we are going to be reviewing the Motown Showdown Twitch event for Impact Wrestling. This aired on Friday, October 7th. Like I said, it was a Twitch event. It was on a Sunday. It was after the BCW 25th anniversary, which will be a one night only, debuting sometime in November. I believe it's November 16th. So this is the show, the Motown Showdown review. I also want to give a couple updates here. As far as the Lucha Underground show, I only did one episode and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But unfortunately, Netflix has decided to cancel Lucha Underground. And it's kind of a bummer because I was, really looking forward to reviewing every episode. And I was about to review the second episode, and then I get the notification that Lucha Underground is only going to be on Netflix until November 15th. So I was pretty bummed out, to say the least, and I think it's kind of a waste of time to keep reviewing them if I don't really have a means to watch it, and I'm not going to go and look on YouTube for all the episodes and whatnot. I think that just gets kind of messy, and it's not a clean way to see it, so I don't really want to do that. My hope is that sometime in the future, Lucha Underground somehow becomes available on the Global Wrestling Network. I would love that. So that's my hope for that. If it happens, I don't know, but if it comes on there again, I will definitely start the reviews again, because I did have a lot of fun watching it, and I really do want to finish it, but Netflix didn't really give it that big of a chance. They only put the first 2 seasons on, and they didn't even give season 3, so I really don't think there's a reason to continue that. So until there's a better way or a means to watch it, the Lucha Underground reviews will be paused. So sorry for that, but I will definitely keep doing the Twitch events and the one night onlys, and hopefully be on the HeelCast this week as well. So, all right, without further ado, starting off the Motown Showdown, we were in some type of saloon, I believe is what they called it. It was a suburb out of Detroit. Pretty full house, to say the least, in the building they were in. So the first match we had was a tag team match. It consisted of Hala Beefcake versus RJ City and Jake Something. Now, we've seen RJ City a few times. We've seen Jake Something a few times. And Hala Beefcake consisted of Idris Abraham, who we've seen quite a bit. He even participated in the 2017 X Division Cup. His partner, I believe we have seen too. The name escapes me at the moment, but the winners of the match were Hala Beefcake. But before the match, RJ City cut a promo, and he's kind of just like, his gimmick right now is he's kind of bringing out all these different partners. So, he's kind of getting his name across the indie circuit, so to speak. And, he's a BCW regular. He's actually been booked for a House of Hardcore match with David Arquette. But I really I enjoyed this opening match. I think RJ City's actually got a lot of charisma, and he's good on the mic. So I'll be surprised if Impact doesn't sometime bring him up in the future, because I think he's doing some really solid work. Jake Something's another guy who's got a really good look. I mean, we've seen him on Impact before and one night onlys and Twitch events, so he's not like anything new, which is nice. How we're kind of getting familiar with some of these wrestlers. As far as the match goes itself, Hala Beefcake, they got the surprise victory. I think RJ City actually walked out on Jake Something because his gimmick is kind of like snobby, I'm better than you, so type. So good opener, got the crowd involved. I enjoyed it. The next match was a guy named Mavado. He had like a mask First time I've ever seen him. I'm assuming he's kind of a comedy wrestler. He doesn't have the biggest figure to him, but he faced Madman Fulton. Now, if you don't know who Madman Fulton is, he used to be Sawyer Fulton in WWE. The guy is a very impressive look. He's got like the Mohawk dreads going on. He's about 6'5", very, very big presence. Impact, should think about using this guy because they need some more bigs. They lack some, bigger wrestlers. So I think Madman Fulton would be a perfect guy for Impact Wrestling to bring in on more of a consistent basis. And, he's from Ohio. He does stuff with Sami Callihan and MLW. Why not bring him in for the fourth member of OVE? I think there's potential with this guy. But Madman Fulton was able to get the win pretty convincingly, even though Movado did get some of his stuff off. It wasn't anything real special. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. I'd also give the opener about a 2.5 out of 5. So the first two matches, while they weren't anything special, they were fun to watch. I think Madman Fulton's a guy to look out for. I'm not real sure how his whole NXT run went. I do know he was part of Sanity at one point, but after that, I really couldn't tell you too much. But it's a guy for Impact to keep an eye on. So. The third match of the night, we got to see Giselle Shaw. We've seen her on a few One Night Only / Twitch events. I think she's a very talented worker. I would like to see Impact bring her in more consistently. She's done some solid work from what I've seen, and she actually wrestled the debuting Scarlett Bordeaux, who has not had an official debut match on Impact. This was her first. I really enjoyed this match, actually. I thought it was pretty solid from both girls. I think Scarlett Bordeaux definitely uses her assets very well. That's all I'm going to say. Her moveset is very, very much based on her gimmick. I thought she was a solid worker for the first time that I've really seen her. We saw her on a One Night Only Knockouts Knockdown back like 4 or 5 years ago, but her gimmick has changed so much that you can't even really compare that. So what I did see, I enjoyed. Scarlett Bordeaux gets the victory. I'll say 2.5 out of 5. Solid knockouts match. So next, we had the Eli Drake Open Challenge. Now keep in mind, this was before Bound for Glory, so he was still doing the Open Challenge. So the man that answered the call was none other than the former WWE superstar Zach Gowen. He was also a TNA original as the Tenacious Z. So Zach Gowen answered the call. Zach Gowen looks in good shape. Looks about the same, except he just looks a little more manly now. He's got a beard, but he still does the same moves. Him and Eli Drake had a decent little match. I wouldn't say it was anything amazing, but it was a solid match. I think they complemented each other pretty well in the ring, and Eli Drake gets the win with the gravy train, so it's good to see Drake get the W here. But yeah, I mean, Eli Drake, he was over again, cuts a great promo. Zach Gowen, I thought, was pretty over as well. I think everyone in the crowd knew he was, he may have had a short WWE run, but dang, it was very memorable. So he wrestled pretty much, every high Impact legend he could have possibly wrestled in that first month in his run. So, solid match. What can you say? The next match was a 4-way X Division match. It was Ace Austin versus P.D. Williams versus Nate Madsen versus Matt Seidel. Now, the interesting thing about this match is Ace Austin, if you listen to my reviews, this guy is very impressive. He's got a Gambit-style gimmick, if you don't know. Very high flyer, does a little bit of everything, but he's also big enough to do power as well. Nate Madsen was a guy that they kind of explained was a guy that went up with, kind of that early X Division style with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, P.D. Williams. He's a guy that's been, around the indies, but never really broke into the mainstream. But, you talk to any of those guys that have, and they all know who Nate Matson is, and I guess he's got a really good job in Michigan, so he just kind of does the local events on the weekends and whatnot. But it was cool for Impact to give him that exposure that maybe he's never gotten, besides being on the smaller indie shows. So, but this match was very good. As you can imagine, Ace Austin, Petey Williams, Matt Seidel, Nate Madsen, they all are great workers. It was a typical X Division match, but what I was really excited for was Petey Williams getting the win. I think Petey deserves a X Division title run in the future, and I think that he should get it one more time because I enjoy some Petey Williams, and I know a lot of Impact fans that watched enjoy Petey Williams. So give that man a title run of some sort. I don't care if he gets the X Division or tag team. I don't know if you can make it work with the heavyweight, but I guess if it was booked right. But Petey Williams gets the win. I thought this match, I'd give it a good 3.5 out of 5. It was very good. What you'd expect. All right, so then the next match was a tag team match. It was, I kid you not, Johnny Swinger, former WCW, former ECW, and a small stint with WWE, and John Bolin. We've seen John Bolin. He's big in BCW. I believe he's a trainer there, but he's also been on some Impacts before, even some Impacts back in the day he was on. So Johnny Swinger and John Bolin versus Tommy Dreamer and Eddie Edwards. As you can imagine, Edwards and Dreamer kind of been teaming up as of late with the whole kind of, kendo stick thing going on. But Johnny Swinger, what can you say? The guy's a great worker. And I'm going to say this, he's still in really good shape. Yeah, he looks older, but the guy's in phenomenal shape. John Bolin's a machine if you look at him. This was a fun tag match. I'm a huge WCW fan, so anytime you bring out former WCW workers, I kind of mark out. So, but nonetheless, Tommy Dreamer and Eddie Edwards got the victory here. I would say it was a 2.5 out of 5. I don't think it was anything to write home about, but all four men did a solid effort, and it's just nothing really new that happened. But there wasn't really any heat in this match, I guess, but I guess the nostalgia factor of seeing Johnny Swinger was cool, so I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. The next match, now, this was interesting. Another mark-out moment for me. It was D'Lo Brown versus Congo Kong. Now, we have not seen Congo Kong in a while on Impact, and that's kind of sad because, you know what, I had such a blast interviewing Congo Kong. I think it's a shame that we haven't seen him on Impact in a while. But he got to face a legend in D'Lo Brown, and I'm going to be honest here, D'Lo Brown did not look as in good a shape as Johnny Swinger did. So D'Lo Brown, he kind of, he still got a pretty noticeable gut to him. And I mean, besides like the quick punches, and I mean, I think we saw the spinning lariat kick that he does. You didn't see a lot from D'Lo Brown. I was a little disappointed, but you know what? What I do want to see is D'Lo, get yourself in shape, keep wrestling, but lose a few pounds, but still keep wrestling because I am a big fan of you. Loved you when you had the chest protector and you were doing the frog splash. That was awesome. The lowdown, it was great. I want to keep seeing D'Lo Brown, but I just want you to be in a little bit better shape. I don't care that you're 48. You can still do it, my friend. So, but anyways, Congo Kong gets the victory with the choke slam. Obviously, the right man went over here. Congo Kong he's a force. I just don't think he's used properly. But I would like to see him used more, but I was glad to see him here. I guess I give this match 2 out of 5, and that's kind of being lenient. Besides the nostalgia factor of seeing D'Lo Brown, what can I say? It wasn't that great, but good to see D'Lo. Hopefully we see him more. Maybe some tag team matches so he can kind of get his footing back. So, and then the main event, which was Moose versus Johnny Impact, which was kind of like the prelude to Austin Aries at Bound for Glory. I thought the main event was really good. These two guys did a hell of a job. I'll go 3.75 out of 5. It was a really good match. Johnny Impact won. The right man won, and to lead to his Bound for Glory victory. So, solid main event. That's what I kind of really enjoyed about this. What can you say? Johnny Impact looked great. Did a little promo. Just said he was coming after Aries. So, it was if I would have watched this live, I think I would have appreciated it more, because it would have been a nice build up to BFG. So I'm hoping to watch the Twitch events live. I'm hoping to do that so I can kind of stay caught up. But anyways, the Motown Showdown, I thought it was a solid show. I don't know if I would say it was a great show. Even for a Twitch event, I thought there wasn't really any feuds that I'm aware of with some of the BCW guys. And then with the Impact guys, I mean, besides, Moose and Johnny Impact, that was a good feud. That made sense. And it was a good match. Johnny Impact's a great worker, but I'm going to say I would say it was like a 7 out of 10. Just because it didn't really, nothing really stood out besides a few wrestlers you haven't seen in a while, that being Johnny Swinger and D'Lo Brown, which were kind of interesting. But as far as the matches, they weren't anything bad. They just weren't anything spectacular. So if you're a hardcore Impact fan, you're going to watch this anyway. If you're a casual fan, you're probably not going to find too much to be excited about watching this. So I would definitely watch the main event for sure, and then maybe the nostalgia factor with Swinger and D'Lo Brown. But other than that, you're not really going to be too impressed with it. So Motown Showdown, 7 out of 10. We'll be reviewing, I believe the next event is a one night only. I think it's the Battle of Pennsylvania or something, and I believe that's coming on November 16th. And then I believe the next Twitch event is in California on November 30th. I believe that one's called Gold Rush, if I'm not mistaken. So those will be the next two shows. I will be reviewing both of them. I hope you enjoyed the Motown Showdown review, and I will catch you hopefully on this upcoming week's HeelCast. See you later.